Good afternoon, friends. Today we are here to into the history of homeopathy, where you can learn something, the mind of the Hahnemann and why its evolutionary process that is summed up in through the experience. Life is always a matter of experience. Right from our childhood, we keep on learning and experiencing everything close association with us. It becomes the part of our life. And it depends upon perceptions and the setup of our mind in which way we want it. And this is better understood for the purpose of the life, the implementations of our assigned principles of which we have been created. This is very important to understand and keep in mind that everyone works according to their science, everyone works according to their inner build of their life and the highest principle of the life. And once it is deviated from that, it becomes the problem, and bringing many more problems. And understanding brings, coming from the experiences, has changed the entire civilizations, and the civilizations have grew up like anything today. And the modernity that we experience and witnessing around us is simply the explanations of the experience that humanity has gained. Friends, in the subject of the medicines also, right from the birth of the medicines, in the pre-medial ages and till date, medicines is undergoing several type of the changes. And among these changes, there are the various thoughts are emerging up, various principles are emerging up, and these principles are the concentrated form, are the concise form for the abstracted informations related to one type of the subject. Dr. Hahnemann had uh, the learning process and being medical practitioners, he had a different view than any other philosophy or practitioner of his era. While he was looking at the he, he was not satisfied with the logical mind and the rational mind that he had developed with the understanding. Rationality plays an important role in our life so that we can have a better judgment for the betterment of our own self as well as the betterment of the civilization. Friends, there is a historic background for the evolution of organ of medicines, the highest watermark of the homeopathic philosophy by our great master, Dr. Hahnemann. Dr. Hahnemann publications of the organon of medicines, which took the final shape after undergoing several changes and several impressions that Hahnemann had developed within that period of the life. Starting from several articles and until he reaches to the medicines, writing the medicines of experience, I feel that it is the blueprint for the organon of medicines. Just as you say that we used for the dissertation's purpose, for the research purpose, we prepare a synopsis, a prospective idea, and all these ideas are based on the accumulated informations that we have on, and on that basis, a synopsis is prepared to make and investigate into the medicines. And so medicines of experience appears to be the synopsis, and organon of medicines appears to be the final dissertations submitted by our master. And after the submissions also, he had made several changes to many places, and it underwent into the sixth edition, six editions during his lifetime itself. Friends, let us go through this synopsis work of Dr. Hahnemann the medicines of experience. Today, I am going to give you the synoptic and the whole outline of this great article, which is known as the precursor to Organon of Medicine. Just before the Organon of Medicine, this article was published, and this is available, still available, and it is a very small article, almost about 36 pages, and the contents are enriched with the entire philosophy, the things that were in the mind of Dr. Hahnemann. Let us start with this topic, medicines of experience. Friends, there are many occasional writings, and Hahnemann was in habit of writing articles, which were being published here and there, and later on it was compiled up. It was compiled up into the one volume, lesson writing. And these lesson writing are very important information of all of us. Those who want to study homeopathy, it is important for them to go through the literatures so that they can experience the mind of the Hahnemann. Until you understand the philosophy, the background, the content in depth, and the theme, the things you do not develop a confidence in the medicine. So with this, Hahnemann's lesson writing, and it is just before the Organon of Medicines. Friends, what you have seen and what you see, the emerged first cohesive statement. This is the reflections emerged. This medicine of experience is like a reflection, background reflection that emerged after the cohesive statement of the new system of medicines. What Dr. Hahnemann was trying to do, he was just trying to deviate, he was just trying to find out the natural and most appropriate and most practical solution for the system of the medicine. So it must be a deviation, it must be a different things. So this is the first steps. This or medicines of experience is taken as the first step towards the impressions that he had gathered for separating his own thoughts from any other medical systems. And it was this publications, this article was written in 1805. Now let us go into the history. And just in the early part of the 19th century and towards the end of the 18th century, there was a great chaos prevailing in every part of the science. The scientific systems, people were not able to follow differently. Just you can say that the 19th century, the early part of the 19th century, the meeting point for the experiences to be converted into the science. We started looking after everything with right or wrong. So judgmental ability, assessment, and then making whether it is scientific or not. So the scientific thoughts, we can say the 19th century, the earliest 19th century is the emergence of the scientific thought that is, and also for the standardizations of this philosophy. So in great chaos prevailing in the early part of 19th century, Dr. Hahnemann came up with the fresh air of experience as medicine of experience in the medical era. Dr. Hahnemann tried earnestly to throw away all the odds, peculiar, deleterious applications of the medicines prevailing at that time and showed a new way through the simple way of rational art of healing, which shouldn't imitate the nature based on the sound natural law. What you see, when there is no logic, when there is no principles, no fixed principles, people what do? They try one after the other. Whatever thought, whatever things they see, they observe, they try to apply. So without any law, without any regulations, the medicines were being followed. So it was the most irrational. You cannot derive the experience from this irrationality. No experiences. It is just the emerging thoughts arising from the surroundings. Whatever you see, the whatever the logic and that you can apply in your mind, that is tried to be applied, that is tried to be practiced, and no definitive principles, without any definitive principles. So this is a great chaotic spirit prevailing during so many data has been collected, right from the Hippocrates till the Galen, Paracelsus, and many other philosophers. The medicinal world was filled up with the vast treasure of information, and these informations were creating lot of the chaotic informations were need to be the properly analyzed and make a proper literature review so that they can be organized and some conclusion can be drawn from this philosophy. Friends, the Medicines of Experience was one of the earlier lesser writing by genius Dr. Henneman, said to be the precursor of the Organon of Medicines. I told you that this is the precursor, just before. So that's it. And before this Medicines of Experience also, there are several other articles. If you go into the later writing, you will find several other articles which were published. But this seems to be the turning point or the just precursor. We can say this to be the precursor to the Organon of the Medicines. Friends, Organon of Medicines developed slowly out of the Henneman's thinking and experimentation. And it took several years to gather the informations, several years to make the analysis. And it was about 20 years after the Henneman seminal experience of the cinchona. It took 20 years to experience, to formulate them into the system. The 14 years after his essay on the new principles for ascertaining the curative power of the drugs and some examinations of the previous principles. Before the Medicines of Experience, and very beautiful article was published by Dr. Henneman. It was the essay on new principles. Now you see the what term new principle. That means he found the other philosophy not to be in other system or other thoughts, not to and his thoughts are quite different. And the basic objective was to find out the natural curative power of the medicine. With the cinchona, he got a new information that cinchona is not only a medicine for the ague or the fever or the malarial-like symptoms. It has got some different actions, and he explored several symptoms which were not known to the earlier practitioners of the medicines. And 5 years after this 14 of the new principles, another after the 5 years, the Medicines of Experience was published in Hufeland's journal. The first time this article was published in the Hufeland's journal. Now, there are 5 main precursors that you can see which has got the direct linkage with the Organon of Medicines. The first was the essay on new principles for ascertaining the new curative power for the drugs. Now this is important. The new principle, that means that some principles which is different from the others, and it was published in 1796. Thereafter, in 1805, he published Aesculapius in Balance. Now this is another in the great masterpiece of Dr. Henneman, where you can understand the status of the medicines and the balancing means preparing a methods for the medicines. Then in 1805, again Medicines of Experience was published, And in 1808, on the speculative system of the medicine, value, speculative. There are many systems of the medicines by that time has come. And Dr. Henneman made an analytical understanding, analytical review of all those systems. So that he gathered into this publication's value of on the value of a speculative system of the medicine. And then he made in 1809 he published another articles which is based on the Hippocratic philosophy, that is the observations of three methods of the treatment, applying the medicines on the simple symptoms, single symptoms, or applying the medicines on the similar symptoms, applying the medicines on the dissimilar symptoms, or in a mixed haphazard way, in the mixed way. So this is three concurrent methods were being applied, and this rationality, he tried to find out the rationality of each one of them, and it paves the path for the final publications of the Organon of medicines. Now, thoughts of the age, civilizations view learning medicines in the different way. People learn medicines in different way, and there are the philosophy by the Paracelsus, there are the philosophy by the Galens, several new thoughts, dissimilar medicines, disorganized medicines, doctrines of signatures, and so many principles were being applied. Letting the things that is, and seeing the nature to work in the which way, but that was only the one-sided approach, and every time they made a unilateral approach to the medicines and the product of. Dr. Henneman wanted to have a bilateral and multifactorial origin nature of the medical systems. That means a holistic system of the medicine system. So present understanding of the medicines are indebted to all those earlier contributors. No doubt, right from the Hippocrates, Galens, they all have made several painful labor with so much time and so much devotion that we have to be grateful for them. Now, how we realize that how the realizations comes, how we feel when we get the guesses. There are the steps, there are several ways the realizations. We make hypothetical imaginations. Imaginations. Then there are the doctrine of signatures available. Then accidentally we learned something. Something happened and we learned from that. And then we also followed the traditional methods that we followed in our family, in the surrounding, in the society, and through the experiences. And there are many more contributions. So this is the realizations that has to come through experiences gained through the observations and applied logical applications. Friends, the journey of Henneman's observations start with the origin of Henneman's idea of thinking and writing. He was a great writer, he was a great thinker, and writing. And so this thinking and writing is important phenomena where you have the introspections, what is going on into your mind. And it is the people who cannot speak properly, they have got a wide mind and they think on, accumulate more information. And converting the thinking thoughts into the writing, this is another good impression that we have. And with regards to this influence of Kant, this is the object of the philosopher Kant, great Kant, who was a German idealist in 18th century, is seen in his writing in aphoristic style. So what you see, from where Dr. Henneman adopted the aphoristic style, writing in a small paragraph, in a sloka type, and it is the idea of the Kant's way of the writing. The Medicines of Experience was first published in Hufeland's journal, and then it was later on compiled by R.E. Dutton. So both the books are here. The first publication, this is in the Hufeland's journal, in 1797, and thereafter this lesson of writing was compiled. It contains several other articles besides this medicine of experience. It is collected and translated by the R.E. Dudgeon. The Medicines of Experience, it was published at Berlin. Now this lesser writing was published in Berlin, and reprinted editions of the lesser writing of Dr. Henneman was also published in India by Bijan Publishers Limited. And reprint editions was published in 1993 ISBN number 81-7021-124-7. And Medicines of Experience is from 435 page to 476 page. And so it is in between the many other publications, all those publications. I suggest and I recommend and request all audience to just go through the lesser writing. Make a habit of reading it, at least one article whenever they get the time. This will build you, this will develop an insight into the philosophy of the organon of medicines and the changing pattern and adapting changing pattern that were there in the mind of Dr. Henneman. Friends, Henneman kept on asserting asserting his views through the writing until he finally concluded, which had final version in the Organon of Medicine. So all these articles that is there compiled in Organon of lesser writing are simply the precursors, the thoughts, different type of the thoughts Dr. Henneman has developed during that time, and finally it was concluded with the final version of the Organon of Medicine. And Henneman tried earnestly to throw away all the odds, peculiar, deleterious applications of the medicines prevailed at that period. Friends, you may have learned there were the blood leaching philosophy, there were the doctrine of signatures philosophy, and which is still being practiced in the society, yet they are quite unnatural and unexperienced way of the practice. It is not the logical way, it is not the rational way to practice those medicines through only based on these types of thoughts. Henneman's journey in medicine was basically an attempt to free the art and science of medicines from unwanted weeds that accumulated with the time. From the time of the Hippocrates and to his time, there were several thoughts and principles and ideas were being followed. But Dr. Henneman took out the best from them. He made analysis, and he compiled them. And these compilations are the observations that you can see in the Organon of Medicines. The Medicines of Experience is just exposition of the new path to get into the rational way of practice of the medicines. Now, in Aphorism 6, you may be I'm taking your mind to the Aphorism 6, where a beautiful quote is there: "Futility of transcendental speculations, which can receive no confirmation from experience." What is transcendent? And still today we see the people are practicing medicines, but simply by their own whims. They don't look at the patient. They don't see the patient. They have the fixed ideas. They have the prejudiced mind. And to remove this prejudiced mind, then only you can understand the philosophy of natural medical science. Natural medical science. By the use of word experience does not mean to imply that every means you do your own things. So it is not doing own things. It is doing or the homeopathy without philosophy principle. So homeopathy which is the principle? It is not without principle, but it is true that Henneman started with a very little way of principles, and those he ended up which were entirely based upon his experiments. Friends, the first step towards the learning, the lesson that we see in the Dr. Henneman's idea was to know the man first. The object where you have to work, then you have to know the medicines. What is you have the nature of the medicines, nature of the man, and know the therapeutics method. Then you have to know the therapeutics method, and then the diet and regime. That means the management part of this. So fourth pillar of the practice of medicines is important. Knowing the subject, your life. Life means man. Man means not only his physical body, but the entire complex system of the mind, body, and the spirits. Then knowing the medicines is not only the physical property, it includes its chemical property, it includes its dynamic property, it includes the entire philosophy of the medicine. And knowing about the therapeutics methods means, the applied aspect of these medicines for a particular situation. And to make these medicines work properly, you must have a proper management to pave the path so that medicines can work properly. The of healing has to be natural based and to be natural based on the sound principles. Now, Dr. Henneman's idea about the man, and he started this article with the highest watermark of evolution that is of this universe, of this planet, the highest watermark of the, and he regards man as the highest watermark of evolution. So how much dynamic it is, how much potential it is, and how this potentiality arose, grew up, and evolved. This is important. This potentiality, the development of the potentiality and getting it converted into the kinetic form, it requires the man as whole. Man, which is regarded as an animal, has been born as a most helpless creature than all other animals on this planet. Friends, we all know, when we come into this universe, we are so much helpless that we cannot be, our life, there is great questions of our survival, and until our parents, our mother, our surroundings, they have support us, there will be no existence. With no time, the life will vanish away. So man is the most helpless creature. He is born with a helpless creature, without any support, without any help. Only he has to depend on the external situation. This is the fate of the humanity. There were no powerful weapons for his defense, nothing to oppose to the violence of the elements and meteors. Not protected from the environmental phenomena. Helpless baby would perish if its mother breast were not presented to it. It even cannot feed themselves. Mother has to take its baby near the breast so that, and put her nipples into his mouth so that he gets the milk. So food protected by the parents from the keeping free from the climatic phenomena, and then acting as a security guard. So there is no congenital weapon for his self-defense. So this is the status of the man. This is the state of the man when we are born. All animals, now you just see other animals, what is the status of their life. All animals comes with self-protection and survival mechanism. Whichever animal is there, they have their own built-up, inbuilt self-reliance methods. You can see any animals, They don't need support during their birth. Don't need support. They come up and they start surviving and growing and growing. So this is the status of the all animals. Friends, and what you see, what we see, when a calf is born out of the mother cow, and mother is not able to take the cow, her calf near her udder, and then what happens? This calf slowly goes there and start sucking the milk. Eggs coming up, birds lays the eggs, and when they come out into they feed around themselves. A duck can swim properly immediately after the birth. Immediately, so they have the device to survive. They have to live in water. So they came into this earth. On this earth, they emerged on this earth with the self-protections and self-survival modality. But all other human beings were deprived of all these phenomena. So, was it big questions? Had the beneficence, had the God had disinherited man, and him alone of all the animals on the earth bare necessities of life? So, all the necessities of life that were available to the other animals, it seems that it has been taken away by the Almighty from the man, and he is left helpless. Is it like that? Are we the most cursed being on this planet and not supported by the God? Yes, evolution, and this is the changing evolution. The animal, and we are called the animal. We are called the man, the human. So evolution from animal to the humanity. This is important aspect. We have distinguished ourselves to be called as a human being, and we have separated, whereas every other animals, they have got, they are kept under the one group of the animal, and only we separate ourselves from and we are called the human beings. So this is the evolutions of the human being. So God has created man in his image, and according to his likeness of man to express the God. So what was the purpose of the God? The purpose of the God was to create his image and put them on this earth so that they can represent the activity of the God's activity. We are here to do the God's activity. We are the representative of the God's activity. So what a beautiful thoughts came up with this medicines of experience, understanding that Dr. Henneman had put into this small article. Link joining the material and the spiritual order of the creation. That means, what is the human being? It is the joining link of the material with the spiritual. In body, man belongs to the physical order of the matter. The body represents the physical order of the matter, whereas the soul or spirit belongs to the spiritual. So, meeting point, what is the human being? He is the meeting point of the material and the spiritual. In mind, it is the applied part. So we are the inbuilt imitated form of the God. We all as a human being are the imitations of the mimicry of the God's behavior. So let us see what happened with this such a great gift that we have come along into this world. Likeness of the God. It is the likeness of the God, created entity, distinct from himself, capable of knowing, sharing his existence and goodness. Today we see that man is trying to go across the boundary of this planet Earth and travel into the space. This is the ability of that child, helpless child who was born without any support, and he was supported. And after that, and gradually this potential mind life started growing, and it becomes the most powerful things object of this planet. A spark of divinity in all of us. What we are, we all represents the spark, the splinter of divinity in us, eternal source of all love, one love, only degenerated man of the animal nature, in order to endow him all the more richly with that spark of the divinity, a man. Man represents all the character, all those things which are related to the mind, which are related to the divinity, and being in the disguise of the body, being in the disguise of the body. So we are just we are not the animal, we are the man, we are the separate group of the classification as a man. And human being has been endowed with the richly with that spark of the divinity, a mind. What we have the mind, and this mind is such a powerful instrument that it can be more dangerous, it can be more useful, it can be more different type of the things. So and it is more beyond imaginations. The applicability, the extent, and it is the infinite way this mind is working within us. The spark of the divinity and the mind. What is mind? Mind is the spark of the divinity. It is just the collect all the divine spirits are stored into the mind. So this is the ability of the human. This is the potential of the human being. So human being has been empowered to explore solution for his own problem. Exploring problem now, he is not dependent. He has to do it himself. Yes, I want to do. I can do. Can't do. I want to do it. How do it? How do I do it? I will try to do it out. I can do it. I will do it. Yes, I did. This is the steps that mind works. The initially there were that it unable. Yes, then thoughts, and until they get the confidence. So this is the empowered explorations of the solution for his own problem. We are the solving mind is the problem solving element for our life. Mind, the problem solving element. So we don't have to be fearful about the problem. We should not blame the problem. Problems are the part of the universe, and all these problem solutions, they have to be found out with us. Self-protections from the maladies. Self-protections from the maladies and accidents to which the delicate organism of man exposed by discovering remedial agents found in abundance in the nature. What this man did for survival and being to remove his problem, he discovered and he went into the nature and he searched about the remedial agents which is spreaded and scattered on the entire universal plane of this planet. Friends, although God has created human life as most evolved in his own caste, yet man is not immortal. Yes, we see that we usually feel that man is in the form of the God. What we have just now spoke that it is the caste in the own caste of the God. Yet man is not immortal. Man is not immortal. Man is a mortal. Human life has limitations of being mortal, bounded within the arena of birth and death. we have the limitations. We have the limitations. And why these limitations? Why God has not given you the freedom from the birth and the death? Why we are bounded here? This is important concepts that we emerged into the mind of Dr. Henneman. Yes. Man remains living in the shadow of the death with dreams of becoming immortal like a creator. So shadow of the death is there. No, I will die. And also he has got the imaginations. I am the powerful. I am the powerful. I am the great, but I will die. This is a conflict that is there, which is existing in our persisting in our mind and continuously. And this aspect keeps us separated from the God. So to become to develop this freedom and from the cages of the body, it is the feeling like that. Body is like a cage, material is like a cage where the life is, the spirituality is imprisoned, and definitely every time this life will try to get free from this material body. So it is our instinct, structural phenomena of the life, that what spirit is always trying to be freed from this cage of the body, cage of the material limitations. It don't want to remain here only. It will be there for performing some specific duty. And as soon as that specific duty is performed, he has to get departed from this universe. So God is creator and man is his creations. What is God? Yes, he is creator. And what we are the creators. So we cannot be we should not boast to be the God. And when the sooner you forget this idea of that you are you have been created, that you have been planted here, that means there are someone more super powerful than you. Why God created a man? Now the great question evolves, why God has created a man? Creators wished this man was to assist in make refinement in nature. The purpose was to make refinement in nature. Intended that the mind of man should invent something new. And he intended that man should discover remedial agents for all the problems. So it is a problem-solving process. Man is problem-solving process, and it was the wishes of the God. So there is no imitations. There is no imitations. Creator of mankind did not intend that should work to go in the same manner as nature. You see the nature and you adopt the nature, and you have to create that. You have to create your own path. So follow the law and create similar act of the nature. So this is the understanding that comes with his review of the man as a whole. The Creator also made various processes to overcome the disease conditions in the human body, but those efforts remain very limited and got varied meaning different from each other. Now there are another great things that comes into our mind. We all are different from each other, not the same persons. Every human being born, he is separate from. Why this variation? Why they are all not the same? Why? Because if you have been divided, the man has been divided into the several parts, and God wishes that every should work a specific type of the job. So any man is born with a specific, different own philosophy, own potentiality, own kinetic energy, and own limitations and own strength. Friends, limitations of intellect led man to dream for becoming immortal, bringing diversity in the thinking pattern. When the intellect pattern was not developed, the man who now just see that, yeah, I can do everything, so I can become immortal. And this is the place where the conflict between his understanding state. Man is implanted as a spirituality in the material. Individuality features is important. Each individual as created as new and different from each other. No two human beings are alike. Mind function on the objective of individuality to implement them. This is the purpose of the mind. This is the purpose. We all are different. And why we are different? We have the different objective. And diversity in opinion are quite natural. So we have the different view. We should not blame others because they are right in their own way. They have their own working style. They have and that understanding that are based on their own understanding. And this diversity also crept in medicines with different views as realized in individual way. So what we see today, the different philosophy, different principle, and different system of medicines being practiced. Nature's law has been applied tried to be applied on the basic rational understanding, and imitations of nature only brings unilateral understanding with limitations of applications. Friends, medicine is a science of experience. Its object is to eradicate disease by means of remedy. And experiences depend on the learning and perceiving in own individual way. We all learn in our way. Diversity got entered with different in that perception, and emphasis on the life observation was the main reason for such differences of the view. So many medicines philosophy came up with the differences of the approach. We have the allopathic system, you have the different homeopathic systems, and so many systems are there, each having own limitations of understanding man, health, and disease. They look at the man in different way. Each one have got the understanding about the health in a different way, and for the disease also the understandings are varied. The internal essential nature of every malady of every individual case of the disease expresses itself by the symptoms. Now this is the observations of a man. When we see the man, try to observe a man as a whole, what you can observe, that every disease, every individual suffering from a problem have its own type of the symptoms which is different from the others. So it is necessary that we must have the investigations of the true observer in their whole extent, conditions, and sections. That means the problem ever since it arises, and its growth and how it should get terminated. So from origin to the end, we must have the evolutionary process of the disease, understanding about the evolutionary process of the disease, and observing man as a whole is necessary to perceive the disease in its completeness. If we want to see the disease, if we want to know about the disease, we have to first understand about and we have to perceive about the man as a whole. So observing man as a whole, where does the man exist? Man body is the mind, body, spirit plane. The state is in the conscious state, subconscious state, and unconscious state, and energy flowing everywhere, unified state in the balance. And this is the whole anatomical, physiological structure of the human being. Mind, body, and spirit. These are the three planes. And there are the three states. Sometimes we are conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. And everywhere there is the energy. And this a unified way is the balance. This balance way, until this balance is maintained, you are in the healthy state. Yeah, the moment this balance is disturbed at any of the plane, the problems arise. So man exists in his soul with energy flowing to keep them in unity. So this is the state of the man. And this is the continuity. that goes on from the mind, body, spirit, and being displayed at the physical plane. What a physical body is just the platform. It just provided the platform of the spirit and the mind to work. It is the station where we can go into the furtherance of the universe. Tendency of the disease is to capture the entire organism. Vital theory indicate it's from the inward to the outward. So what is the disease? The disease is tendency, nature of the disease is to capture the organism, life, vital theory, and from inward to the outward. So vital theory inward to the inside, it starts, the functioning starts from the inside, whereas the disease theory that it comes from outside and tries to enter your life. Unilateral way of understanding brought a limitations in perceiving the man as a whole, and man's mystery remained a divided legacy from the view of very early stage of the life civilizations. It is a divided legacy because we all have the different outlook, different society, different region, different culture have the different understanding about the man, about the God, about everything. And this is the divided legacy which is persisting on this planet since the earliest stage of the civilizations. And ignoring dynamic affections of the immaterial effects of the life and materialistic, the cause of the disease and ridiculous are ridiculous to have nosological concept of the old school of the medicine. Dr. Henneman now finally says that when you ignore the dynamic affections of the medicines and just follow the old nosological conceptions of the medicines, it is going to be the disastrous, and you cannot do bring the natural art of the natural way of the healing. Before Henneman, more than 2000 years were spent to discover the reality through Hippocrates and other mentioned about the efficacy of similar medicines. It is not that the law of the similia was not before Henneman. 2000 years were spent to discover the reality through the Hippocrates, the philosophy, the originator who spoke about the similarity and other parts. For 2000 years were passed where this philosophy of the law of similars came up. Yet, after Henneman's more than 2 years, now with the emergence of Henneman, and now more than 2 years have passed away, yet there is no realizations for probably more years will be spent to realize it properly. Time will take, because still we have not realized the importance of the similia, and still we are being criticized for it's to be the most natural system of the medicines. Because why? Because everyone have got their own perspective of understanding and basically dominated by the materialistic thoughts. So belief and rationality. Dr. Henneman very much emphasized on your beliefs, what faith you have in you, and what is the rational. Rationality and emotionality are often pitted against one another in the winner will take. If you have the belief, you will lose the rationality. If you have the rationality, you will lose the belief. So rationality uses thoughts and facts, not feelings and emotions, to come and to a decision. So how the decision is taken? For a rational man, he uses his mind, he uses the fact, not based on the philosophy of the emotions and the feelings. Where rational brings the right choice to be more rational is to emotion in decision making. So rationality, and when you are overpowered by the emotions, overpowered by your sensation, your rationality is lost. So irrational is capable of incapable of logical thoughts or reasoning. They cannot reason. They have got their fixed idea, and with this fixed idea, you cannot explore anything. Research work and whatever we see in the patient, that is also a research-based work. Our case taking is a research methodology, and until you have the capability to research and reasoning, then only you will be able to apply the principle of natural law, the law of human nature. Kahneman's objective was to bring rationality and emotionality in required manner to develop the perception of the medicine. So, her experience gained had become the basis for scientific understanding in medicine, but rationality is required for its appropriate applications as art of the prescribing. We have, through the experiences, we have gathered scientific understanding, but for its application part, for its art of the prescribing, we require our logic, we require our mind. When to use the medicines, how to use the medicines, and where to use the medicines, and what is the right time to appropriate time for the application of the medicines. These are the requirements. So all the innumerable diseases exhibit such a difference in their phenomena that we may safely assert that they are arises from a combination of several dissimilar causes, yet exhibiting limited number of symptoms coming in different combinations and diversity, intensity, and varying numbers and differing nature of the intensity are there. We have the number of the intensity, and there are variations are there. The number of the words may be constructed from an alphabet of 24 letters, which may be calculated as grade through the. So what we see our problem, and during the disease conditions, any type of the disease, only the limited number of the symptoms are there. But these symptoms are presented in such a way, such a combination, in such an intensity that have got the differences in each all of us. So what is important? It is not the number of the symptoms, it is number of the totality and expressions. So that the similar that we can construct as many words as we can among the only 24 letters. From 1 to 10, you can have the millions and millions of the calculation process. So learning this capability, the mathematical applications of the life is very important, so that we can conclude, we can construct, and we can have a better analytical, equational understanding of the life. Equations are different, but each human being represents a different equation, and these equations have got the same symptoms, same things which is in all of us, but the difference is equation. Symptoms alignment in each individual in equational manner represents disease in an individual, which is quite different from the others. The internal essential nature of every malady, of every individual cases of disease expresses itself by the symptoms as they present themselves to the investigations of the true observer of their whole extent being connections and the successes. To cure, and now what is the process? The cure, it requires to have a faithful picture of the disease with all the manifestations observed and perceived from a definite case-taking process. You cannot learn everything. There is no third eye with you. You have to develop your third eye after following a definitive process. So physicians require to trace the picture of the disease to proceed in simple manner by observing, listening, and remarks of the strategy and strategic adopting a strategic approach. Every time, every human being, every patient that comes to us, they are the new philosophy, they are the new world, they are the new universe, and they are something different from all others. This concept needs to be practiced and nurtured in our mind. Friends, perception comes from observing all phenomena related to a person's past, present, and future by sincere investigation, and that is called the completeness. That is called the completeness. So perceptions of complete picture of the diseased person as emerged through the totality of the symptoms, plus the perception of the medicines representing similarity in complete picture as emerged through the totality of the symptoms. So perception of the complete picture of the man in disease and perception of the medicines with the complete picture of the totality of the symptoms. So this is the rest. This will create a similarity with the law of the nature. So individualizations brings completeness in perceiving the man in the disease. Individualization, man in the disease. So individualization is important, and Dr. Henneman here has given great emphasis on the individualization, on the principle of the totality of the symptoms of the totality of the symptoms. So medicines are in the natural resources. From where the medicines come, they are in the natural resources. They need to be explored by proving on healthy human beings to depict the action at mental, physical, and spiritual level. So we have to make the discovery. We have to prove the medicine. We have to find it from the natures. We have to explore. And this is the continuous phenomena that has to be followed up. Maximum of that experience. While when we see the proving and understanding about the disease coming from the clinical observations as well as proving on the lower animal, but Dr. Henneman, no, you cannot apply those things because they have the limitations of the materialism. But we want something beyond the material, and beyond the material, you have to go into the man on the body, healthy body. The process of knowing the pathogenetic power of medicines after its proving on the healthy body. The pathogenetic power and their absolute true action on the healthy human body in the purest manner can only be seen when each one is given single and uncombined way. So this is the arrival towards the single medicine. How we can know the medicines? We can know the medicines when you give it them in a combined way. What the medicines has acted, how you can gain the experience from a patient getting cured, whether this and how this is not that for what disease, which disease this medicine has acted. It is important that which group of the symptoms which has which led to the conclusion of that particular medicine is important. The symptoms observed through the approving of medicines on healthy persons brings completeness of its power to extent of its action in each individual man in the disease. So similimum is the essence of perfect matching of symptoms of man in disease with the complete picture of the feature of the medicine. So this is the similimum. It is a matching. What we have to match the symptoms of that there in the man and the symptoms that is there in the medicines. And this matching has been, so similimum is not only at the physical plane, it includes the similimum at the physical, mental, and spiritual plane. And in similar way, the medicines also have got the physical, spiritual, and mental plane. So similar medicines has to be the shadow of man in disease. So what is the medicines? This is the similar medicines, the shadow that we see. It has to follow the man spirits. For knowing the pathogenetic power of the medicines acting on the mandatory to know the observe the action of presented through the close observations. And for this, it is required that we must have a close observation. Close observation, minute observation is very essential, and this process is required for at the every steps of our practice of the medicines. For every step at the time, right from the case taking till the progression of the disease and till the end of the completion of the process. Friends, disease manifests itself in different way and intensity. There are some indispositions, there are acute manifestations, there are chronic manifestations, then there are some hypochondriacal manifestations. People come and there are the complexity. So these are the different format, intensity, and differences are there. Some are very severe, some are less severe, some are mild, some are tolerable, and some are intolerable. So disease has several ways of its exhibiting on the life. How the disease gets appeared? Complex way, local malady, one-sided disease, mental disease, mechanical injury, and psychic injury. So all these phenomena are there. Why? So why we should not understand how the life is exhibited? We have to understand the complexity. We have to understand whether it is a local malady, and we have to adopt a particular modality for removal of this sickness. So observations of the effect of the medicines are required to know the process following by which administered of the man. And after you have applied the medicines, what you have to do? You have to know what was the primary actions, then what will be the secondary actions, and what are the homeopathic aggravations, and what are the medicinal aggravations. So everywhere observation is required. Until you understand all these phenomena, you cannot decide that whether your patient is going to be cured or not cured. So patiently observing the effects of the medicines bring understanding for the types of the result. And after understanding observations of the effect of the medicines, you can see that medicines is working for the complete cure. Medicines is working in the palliative way. Medicines is working in the suppressants way, and the medicines is not becoming effective. So how you can know that it is palliative actions? How you can know this type of the action? Only through the observations how the medicines is bringing a change. This change is always different. Change is always different. The medicines has got its own property, but when it acts on the human body, it has to act in combinations. The effect of the medicines are experienced in a combined way as a resultant actions. So exploring thereafter you have to explore for the second prescription, repetitions about the dosage, palliative actions, curative actions, and the no effects. For this we have to explore. So palliative has no power to shorten the nature of the course of the disease. What happens when the palliation is done? They simply lessen the intensity. They only gives temporary relief, which is always followed by the aggravations. And management of man in disease. This is important aspect. While we treat a patient, it is quite necessary to consider the management of the case. Besides we prescribe medicine, it often involves several aspects to be managed in order to let the medicines act properly. So we must have a proper diet and regime and other understandings. So management in completeness, which part we have, what are the features of the management? The faith, management of the faith, management of the mental state, management of the time, management of the routine of the patients, and then diet and regime, and behavior and the attitude. So these are the management aspects so that medicines can work smoothly. You have to pave the path for the medicines to work smoothly. So Hahnemann showed the superiority of the curative power, positive type of the treatment, which can shorten the natural course of the disease and leaves behind no after suffering. He said the cure is only can only be observed uh, uh, when we have followed the nature's law, and it is definitely this law of the is much superior than any other system of the medicine, and only through the single medicine in most minute dose with similarity of the symptoms. This is the conclusion that Dr. Henneman arrived in this article. So Henneman's observations are reflected through his experience and rationality applied, which are based on example of primary and secondary actions and its practical therapeutic applications at latter part. And also he wonderfully described the higher susceptibility, higher sensibility of the body to similar medicines, irritations. The sensitivity of the body of medicinal irritation is so in a state of disease that only intelligent, wise observer clinicians expect the fool of the philosophy with materialistic views can realize that minus dose can show the way to the cure. It can ignite vital principle, show the light of the cure. So nature's earnest effort is to save the mankind from knowing the intensity, depth, virulence, and every individual disease. And in few cases, cure may happen, but not in very smooth way. And those diseases can be cured radically by rational art of the healing without any deleterious effect of the medicine. It is not all diseases are going to be cured. Why? Because there are the limitations of the intensity, depth, understanding, and differences of the opinion within the human own life. So medicines of experience should be regarded as synopsis of the organon of medicines. So what we have seen, what you go through the all of the entire organism from one to the last. These ideas were explained and regulated, regulations were created, developed, and with a logical setting in the organon of medicine. And this medicines of experience is like the synopsis of the organon of medicines. So basic tenet of medicines experience in medicine, the physician's high and only mission is to restore the sick to health, to cure as it is termed. This is the first affirmed, and this is the basic objective, basic tenet for the experience in medicine. High and only mission is to restore the and nothing else. As it is termed, his mission is not to construct so-called system by interweaving speculation and hypothesis concerning the internal essential nature of the vital process and the mode which disease originates. Friends, beautiful, if you want to practice medicines, you have to be changed. If you have to change the way you want to see the world. Be the change you want to see the world. So if you want to see you arrive at the truth of the nature, truth of the medicine, you have to change your idea, concepts, and make yourself dedicated. Each time a man stands up for an ideal or act to improve the lot of others or strike out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current that can strip down the mightiest wall of the oppression and resistance. Robert Kennedy's beautiful quotations fit to this understanding of your against the injustice. So thank you very much. With this, we have come to an end of our session. I have tried to give you in details every paragraph, the conclusion of the 36 pages of this medicines of experience. Still, if you have any questions, you can ask me. You can find me at risdth@gmail.com, or you can write me to 9431020622. Thank you very much. Thank you, friends. I see so many comments, but only good wishes and good wishes, good morning and greetings. So my greetings to you all for being present here, and keep on learning, keep on learning. This is my, with this I conclude this session, and I hope we can get a better light on the subject of the medicines through this medicines of the experience. Try to make your own experience. My conclusion is that try to make your own experience so that you can get a better understanding about the medicines and make yourself a more satisfied practitioner. Not successful, but satisfied practitioner is important. You have to be satisfied what you have done, and that only gives you the great peace of the mind that you have lived. Not life was not spent in vain and didn't get wasted. This feeling will come, you will experience at the end of your life. Thank you, and I close this session now.